What's up, everybody? My name is Wreck-It Rob, and today we're giving a little head nod to our unsung heroes, the 3 stars. Yeah, you know those things, the things you use for food. I think I use 3 of these. Yeah, let's see. I use any of you. He's a Rock Golem, Phantom Wolf, and Windwalker. So today, specifically, we're talking about Lawful units. We're just going to be ranking the Lawful units. I am going to be doing sets of all the different 3 stars. And then I might just bunch 4 and 5 stars together because some 4 stars are better than some 5 stars, so it just kind of makes sense that way to put everything in perspective. But 3 stars I'm classifying all on their own, kind of just because this is like the traditional like free to play zone. These are the ones that you get from mystical scrolls that you can get just hundreds of throughout your time playing the game. Up first on our list, we have the Divine Priest. Now, the Divine Priest, I wasn't really sure what his kit was, to be honest, because I know I've looked at it in the past and I didn't really think it was super great. But now that we have RTA coming up in, you know, a month and a half, however long it's going to be, I have to kind of start looking at things in more of an RTA perspective, like adding that in there, because before it didn't matter as much. The Divine Priest does work well in RTA as a single target stunner, and if you were to build him with just straight defense, you could make him incredibly tanky. You can make him incredibly tanky if you were to combo him with things that give him plenty of beneficial effects, because those stack his defense. So I think because of that, because he is only a single target stunner, he's really good at taking out one person from combat. I think he has a 3-turn stun on his skill 2. Because of that, I'm gonna move him to a B. And this with everything else, I haven't built him, I haven't played with him. If you've built him and think he's better, let me know. I can gladly update this in the future. So this is kind of just how I perceive them from their kits. The Dwarven Gunner. The Dwarven Gunner, personally, I like. He's an incredible single target nuker. He can do a ton of damage. He has very high multipliers. And I think it's his skill 2 that actually does more damage depending on how many negative effects are on the target. So if you were to take, you know, the mummy in and stack a whole bunch of dots on like the Colossus boss or something, you could potentially one-shot it with the Dwarven Gunner. Now, that being said though, he is a 3-star, so he does have a little bit lower stats, but I think his kit, in all honesty, deserves him a spot up in the A. He's a great hero. I've played with him in the past, and I have been meaning to build him recently. So I think he deserves this spot pretty well. Okay, so next we have the Elven Archer. The Elven Archer was another one, again, that I didn't really see a whole lot in at first. I do now, only when putting it in a certain light. What I see with the Elven Archer, and this might be completely different from some other people, but what I see with the Elven Archer is a good desperation stunner, because the first skill attacks, I think it's 3 times. Second skill, one of them is an AoE that attacks 3 times. So you have 2 skills right off the bat that would just do great with a desperation set. And then, you know, if you're wanting to build her as a nuker, she also has a passive that's kind of like a discount Holy Swordsman passive, as well as a different 3rd skill that is just a good single target freeze. In terms of RTA, she would do good as, once again, a stunner. So because she is able to do AoEs, I think that earns her a spot at an A, just above the Divine Priest, especially since she also has the ability to potentially be used as a pretty good nuker. The Golem is a very common unit for lair because of his passive. His passive can throw a shield on your entire party equal to, I think it's like, I don't know, it's a decent amount of his HP that it can throw on there. But it's a large chunk of his HP that he can throw onto all the allies whenever he's attacked, making him really good for dungeons, lairs, things like that. Anytime when the whole team is being attacked. He's kind of what makes it possible to have lair teams where, you know, you have 4 or 5 nukers and then just a really kind of sparse front row, just kind of beefing him up. So because of that, I'm putting him at S tier. I think that he is just such a good unit to use. I think that without him, the kind of like free to play meta for just lairs and dungeons and things like that would be so much harder and so much slower. So I think that he definitely earns a spot at S tier. Next we have the Griffin. He looks just like a discount Bernard from Summoner's War, but is completely different. He has a couple of taunting skills and then stuff to kind of like heal your team or make himself beefier, things like that. So he kind of takes the place that the Divine Priest kind of has. The Divine Priest is good at taking a single target, keeping them out of the combat, or, you know, by way of stunning, decreasing energy, things like that, keeping them out of combat. The Griffin does the same thing, kind of. The Griffin does it by taunting, which taunting is another way of CC, and it's kind of a less effective use depending on how you use it, depending on the hero. Sometimes taunting is better. But really the point of what the Griffin is going to do when you have him in a team is he's going to taunt one hero, and preferably you have a counter set on him, and then keep taunting that one hero, causing him to attack him. Then he has some passives to decrease the amount of damage he takes when his health gets low. And so effectively he's going to latch onto one unit and take it out of combat, but still get attacked by that unit every turn. So because he doesn't just eliminate somebody from combat, I'm going to have to put him below the Divine Priest, simply because they can both kind of make themselves tankier. Well, he mostly heals himself, but they both kind of make themselves tankier while taking someone out of combat. But the fact that the Griffin is still taking damage and the unit is still able to move and do things, I think that warrants him having a spot at C. Next we have the OG, we have the Holy Cleric. This is pretty much everyone's first healer. I mean, this is the hero you get right at the start. I'm sure you probably get a ton of them. She's farmable. There's two ways that you can build her. You can build her mostly for her strips or mostly for heals, which I guess technically you can have a third way where you're kind of doing both, but it's not as good. But you mainly build her either because you want her to strip a lot of stuff, or you want to build her because you want to heal your team, you know, keep your team alive. That's mostly her other build. She does heal a decent amount. She does do pretty well at her job. No matter which one you do, she is only a single target stripper, and when you're doing heals on her, only one of her skills actually cleanses. So I think just because of both of those things, I was deciding between A and B, but because she only does single target stripping and only one of her things actually cleanses, I'm throwing her at B. The Phantom Wolf, great. The Phantom Wolf is an amazing leader in any like free-to-play arena offense. The Phantom Wolf is the leader in my arena offense, actually. The Phantom Wolf is a great unit. If he crits, you know, he gets energy. He has a couple of different skills. His second skills, there are a couple of different ones that you want to use depending on, you know, like if you need to potentially strip shields off something or just do a little bit of single target damage. At least that's how I use him in my arena team. He's a good enough unit. He doesn't have a crazy amount of attack. He doesn't do a crazy amount of damage, but his passive is mostly what he's there for. His passive increases the speed of other units while he's alive by 10%, while also having a lawful hero lead. That makes him incredibly valuable in, you know, arena teams or anywhere like that where you really need your Windwalker to be incredibly fast. Your Windwalker, your Una, whoever you're using, preferably Windwalker, but whoever you're using, if you want them to be incredibly fast, having him as your leader is going to be your best option until, you know, you spend thousands of dollars and get Mikhail. Because his passive is so good, but the rest of his stuff is, it's not subpar, it's just kind of okay. Because of that, I'm gonna slot him in at A. I'm gonna be honest, I hate the Shrine Assassin's kit, because in order to use her kit effectively, you're leaving too much up to chance. So the Shrine Assassin does really well when she's able to sneak in for the last kill and get things. That's when, you know, either her attack will get better. I'm pretty sure both of her passives scale off her being able to kill something. So because of that, that's a little bit too situational. For anybody who watches my videos more, you know I don't really like situational things as much. It's just a lot to plan for and a lot to hope and too much up to chance. So two of her passives are situational, so I already don't necessarily want to use those. And for her kit to work properly, she has to be like almost dead. Like the lower her HP is, I think like one of her skills does more damage. Just things like that. You're leaving way too much up to chance in order to be able to effectively use her. I think she earns the spot at D. There's really no other hero here that is as bad. And from some other tier lists that I actually saw, Diom Gaming, I'll put a link to his channel down below. He was one of them who did a tier list of 3 stars, and I think the Shrine Assassin was like one of the last ones. The Windwalker, everyone builds this. Everyone needs to have it. If you don't have your fastest set of runes on your Windwalker, what are you doing? The Windwalker is such a good unit. I mean, just the fact that we're able to constantly turn cycle, the fact that, you know, there is a skin that boosts the speed, all these things, this just screams PvP. Anywhere you need something to be fast, you throw the Windwalker in there, especially if you were to combo the Windwalker with the Phantom Wolf, like a lot of people do in their arena teams, like I do in my arena team. If you do this, you can make an incredibly fast unit that pretty much guarantees you're going to be taking turn 1 if you have, you know, obviously good enough runes. So I think just because of that, especially with her second skill being able to add additional either heals or a heal and a turn cycle, as well as 2 passives that kind of can make her into an okay healer, as well as a single target slow on her first skill, which is useful sometimes, especially in boss fights where you're only taking on, you know, like the lair boss or Colossus. It's a really good skill. So because of that, that warrants the only other S tier spot. This is my tier list. I'm sure plenty of people are screaming at me. I'm sure I'm gonna get some very angry comments over that. I know I'm probably gonna get that one person that's like, Shrine Assassin is the greatest. I use it this one time to kill this one thing. I don't care. Shrine Assassin's kit is too situational. I'm sure you can do great things with her, but it's too situational for me. I'm sure there's gonna be people upset that I put the Griffin down as low as he is, but he deserves it. I'm not gonna use the Griffin. If I wanted to CC something, I would grab literally anything before I grabbed a Griffin. Let me know down in the comments what you think I got right, what you think I got wrong. If you're wanting to be participating in my 500 subscriber giveaway, at about 330-ish right now, so there's still a little bit of ways to go, but if you're wanting to be a part of that, remember you have to be subbed to the channel as well as liking and commenting on some of my more recent videos. After I hit 500 subscribers, I'm going to be giving away $50 worth of packs on somebody's account, as well as I've decided to also do 2 account takeovers. So you send me your login info, I do a video either rerunning your account, giving you advice, other stuff like that, or, you know, if you're a pay-to-win player and you're, you know, so much further beyond than me, we'll just sit and look at all the cool stuff that you have, and I might, you know, play with one of your units that I don't have. But as for right now, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope everybody enjoyed it. If you did, please do me a favor and wreck that like button as well as the subscribe button down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Later.